I'd like to talk briefly about your experience with your father and the story you share in your book of when you found out that he'd abused children while he was in ministry, and there were the pressures of the Royal Commission last year, and then your father passed away a few years after all of this came out, and I guess that you really lost a hero, not only your father. And you've said you've had some family fallout, lost contact with some siblings over all of that. How have you moved past the personal pain or moved through the personal pain of all of that journey?
Well, I feel like I really only have in very recent times moved on. At the time I went into leadership mode in terms of our movement, of which at the time I was the president, and of the church, obviously, including our city campus, where he was the pastor there for 22 years, and then with my own family, my own children, and so on. So I kind of looked after everyone else, but I don't think I looked after myself. And so in the book I talk about really what was a 10 or 12-year decline. Our church was exploding outwardly, and our lives, Bobby's and my lives, were exploding outwardly, but I was imploding inwardly to the point where I got diagnosed as having post-traumatic stress. And so the fallout was very real. I feel just even being told that, knowing that, helped me, because I understood. I understood, okay, so this is real, and I've been able to bounce back amazingly. So even though it took a real big emotional toll, I feel like now I'm emotionally strong, and it's a good place to be.
Would you say that you ever suffered some depression through that time?
Well, I wasn't about to jump off a cliff, but yeah, I would say so. I would say definitely that I did go through years of depression.
What would you say to people who are going through a valley of mental illness of some kind, having had that experience? And I guess it's its own unique kind of valley in that the faith you need to overcome, by definition, it's hard to have that faith because of mental struggles. So what would you say to people that are in that sort of a valley?
I think the first thing is that people should never ever quickly just write off. Sometimes as believers we can sort of more or less tell people just to get over it, and life's not like that. It's not quite that easy, and I think just people knowing they're understood is a huge help, that you understand that you have compassion for them, you feel for them. And in the first half of my life, up to when I found out about my father, which is when I was 45, I was never that guy. I mean, if you had told me that one day I'd have a near burnout experience and go through periods of depression, I would have thought you were on drugs, because I just was never that person. I was happy-go-lucky, kind of took everything in my stride. Everything in those days of my life was great, and so I've learned also that no one should ever think it can't happen to them, and we've all got to look after our own inner well-being.